Today we're diving into a mystery that's older than your grandma's secret cookie recipe. We're talking about the Bible, folks. But don't worry, we're not here to preach. We're here to unravel some of its biggest head-scratchers. So grab your detective hats and let's get cracking. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you want to get notified every time I upload a new video, click the bell icon as well. It really helps me out and I appreciate it a lot. Alright, let's get started. You might think the Bible is all about miracles and mystical stuff, right? Well, surprise! It's got a ton of super specific details too. It's like if Harry Potter included exact measurements for wands and a family tree going back 10 generations. The Bible gives us the dimensions of Noah's Ark, a detailed description of the Ark of the Covenant, and more to make your head spin. It's like an ancient version of Ancestry.com. Let's break it down a bit. Noah's Ark? According to Genesis 6:15, this floating zoo was about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. That's roughly the size of 1.5 football fields. And the Ark of the Covenant? Exodus 25:10-22 describes it like it's some kind of ancient IKEA manual. It was a gold-plated wooden chest with 2 golden angels on top, measuring about 3.75 feet long, 2.25 feet wide, and 2.25 feet high. Talk about attention to detail. Then there's Jesus. He gets 4 whole books dedicated to his life story. We're talking details about where he went, who he hung out with, and even what he wore. It's like the world's oldest celebrity gossip magazine. Did you know the Bible even mentions specific clothing items? Like in Mark 6:9, Jesus tells his disciples to wear sandals, but not to take an extra tunic. It's like ancient fashion advice. Guys, sandals are in this season, but leave the extra layers at home. But here's the kicker. Even with all these details, there are still plenty of mysteries that have Bible scholars scratching their heads. Sometimes it's because the Bible leaves out info that seems pretty important. Other times it's because we've lost the context over time. It's like trying to understand memes from 2,000 years ago. Some things just don't translate. And let's not forget about the missing stuff. There are objects mentioned in the Bible that have pulled a Houdini and disappeared. People are still out there looking for them, like a never-ending game of hide and seek. The Ark of the Covenant? Missing. The Holy Grail? MIA. It's like the world's longest-running scavenger hunt. These mysteries aren't just fodder for Indiana Jones movies. They've sparked real-life quests and debates. Take the search for Noah's Ark, for example. People have been climbing Mount Ararat in Turkey for years, hoping to find remnants of the big boat. So far, no dice. But that hasn't stopped the true believers. All this mix of specific details and enduring mysteries makes the Bible a fascinating subject for both believers and skeptics. It's like a 2,000-year-old puzzle that we're still trying to solve. And who doesn't love a good puzzle? Now, here's a real brain teaser for you. What day did Jesus die? You'd think this would be an easy one, right? Wrong. It's like trying to remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday. Most people will tell you Jesus died on Good Friday. But here's the plot twist. The Gospels can't even agree on what day that is. It's like when your friends try to plan a group outing and everyone remembers a different date. According to Christianity.com, the Gospel writers were more concerned with symbolism than accuracy. It's like they were writing a movie script instead of a historical document. In 3 of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Jesus dies on Passover. But then John comes along and says, nah, it was the day before Passover. It's like that one friend who always shows up on the wrong day for parties, and it gets even more complicated. Scholars are debating whether Jesus died on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It's like a biblical version of Guess the Weekday. Each theory has its supporters and its reasoning. The Friday crowd points to the tradition of Good Friday and references in the Gospels to the day of preparation before the Sabbath. The Thursday gang argues that there wasn't enough time for all the events described to happen in one day. And the Wednesday folks, they're trying to make Jesus 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth prophecy fit literally. But wait, there's more. Some geologists decided to play detective and try to pinpoint the exact day. They're like the CSI team of biblical studies. These rock-loving researchers looked at Matthew's description of Jesus' death, which mentions an earthquake. They analyzed seismic activity in the area between 26 and 36 AD, which lines up with when Pontius Pilate was in charge of Judea. It's like using nature's own record-keeping system to solve a 2,000-year-old cold case. After crunching the numbers and following the biblical breadcrumbs, these geological Sherlocks came up with a date: Friday, April 3rd, 33 AD. But don't go marking your calendars just yet. They admit it's impossible to know for sure. The Gospels also mention it going dark in the afternoon during the crucifixion. So these researchers plan to look into dust storms related to the earthquake to narrow it down even further. Talk about attention to detail. It's like they're trying to reconstruct the weather forecast from 2 millennia ago. This whole debate shows just how tricky it can be to pin down historical events, especially ones from so long ago. It's not just about the date itself. It's about how we interpret ancient texts, how we use science to investigate history, and how different perspectives can lead to different conclusions. And let's not forget the cultural context. The way time was measured and recorded back then was different from how we do it now. They didn't have smartphones with calendar apps or atomic clocks. Dates were often tied to significant events or rulers' reigns. It's like trying to convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit, but way more complicated. In the end, does the exact date really matter? For some, it's crucial to understanding biblical prophecy and the timeline of Jesus' life. For others, it's more about the significance of the event itself rather than the specific day it happened. It's a reminder that in history, as in life, sometimes the journey of discovery is more important than the destination. Well, for starters, the Bible is like a really old, really complicated puzzle. It's got tons of pieces, but some of them are missing, and others don't seem to fit quite right. It's the ultimate challenge for history buffs and mystery lovers alike. We've got specific details about some things, like the size of a big boat or who was related to who. But when it comes to other stuff, like the exact day the central figure of Christianity died, things get a bit fuzzy. It's like having a super detailed map of one neighborhood, but then realizing the rest of the city is shrouded in fog. This mix of precision and ambiguity makes the Bible a goldmine for researchers, theologians, and curious minds. It spawned entire fields of study, from biblical archaeology to textual criticism. People dedicate their whole lives to understanding these ancient texts, and still, new theories and discoveries pop up all the time. Take the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example. These ancient manuscripts discovered in the mid-20th century shed new light on the development of the Bible and early Judaism. It's like finding your great-great-grandparents' diary and realizing your family history isn't quite what you thought it was. Or consider the ongoing debates about the historical accuracy of biblical events. Did the Exodus really happen as described? Was there really a united monarchy under David and Solomon? These questions keep archaeologists busy digging in the Middle East, looking for evidence to support or challenge biblical accounts. It's a reminder that even ancient texts that some people take as absolute truth can be open to interpretation and debate. It's like how people argue about movie endings or song lyrics, except this debate has been going on for centuries. The Bible mysteries show us that history isn't always clear-cut. Sometimes, the more we dig, the more questions we uncover. It's like peeling an onion, except instead of making you cry, it makes you go, This uncertainty doesn't necessarily negate the Bible's importance or impact. For many, these mysteries add to its allure and depth. They provide endless opportunities for discussion, reflection, and personal interpretation. It's like a 2,000-year-old book club that's still going strong. Moreover, these biblical puzzles remind us of the complexity of human history and belief. They show us how stories and ideas can evolve over time, shaped by different cultures, translations, and interpretations. It's a testament to the Bible's enduring influence that we're still talking about these mysteries today. In the end, whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, the Bible's mysteries offer something for everyone. They challenge us to think critically, to question our assumptions, and to engage with history in a deeper way. And isn't that what learning is all about?